Well, hello there. This video is going to be just me going through some rational exponents questions. The word rational exponents usually just means that we have an exponent that has, basically it looks like a fraction, okay? They're a little bit strange. We don't often see them, but they do come around, and especially in high school, you got to know how to deal with these things. So this video will assume that you've already seen my videos on, negative exponents and the exponent laws, things like that. There's even a video on rational exponents. However, this video is just going to go a little further with some of the examples that you might see. Okay, in fact, we're going to do 6 together right now. The 6 are right here, and you can always skip ahead if there's a particular one that you'd like to see. Okay? You don't have to sit there and listen to me the whole time. Alright, so let's go through the first one right now. We've got 9 to the exponent of 1/2. So, if you remember, whenever we have a rational exponent, what that means is we have a fraction. And the way I describe it, or the way I help people try to remember where that 2 goes, is you want that 2 to slip out into the front. So you write the 9 down, you put the radical sign. Depending on what's down here, that's the number. That 2 is going to slip out in front and go right there. Okay? The 1 is just going to be right there. Okay, it goes right there. So, yeah, I say the 2 is slippery, it slips out in front, and then the 1 stays right there. You have 2 ways to do this on a calculator. You can either go 9 to the power of 1, which is 9, and then take the square root, or you could take the square root of 9, which is going to be 3, and then go to the power of 1. So you can do it either way. You'll come up with the same answer. Okay? The answer is going to be 3. Alright, let's try another one. We have 4 to the power of 3 over 2. So there's our rational exponent. So you start by writing the 4 down, put the radical sign. Now remember, the 2 slips out in front. It could be any number. It could be a 3 or a 4, but in this case it's just a 2, which is the original meaning of square root, by the way. Square root, and in fact it's so common to have a 2 in the front that on a calculator they don't even show that 2. It just shows the square root sign. It assumes that there is a 2 in the front. So anyway, remember I put the 3 right here. Now again, it's your choice. If you want to go 4 to the power of 3 first and then take the square root of it, or take the square root of 4 and then go to the power of 3. Let's try it. Doesn't matter which way. Well, I know the square root of 4 is 2. Okay? So I know the square root of 4 is 2, but we still have it to the power of 3. And 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 2 is 8. Okay? Again, if you wanted to, you could go 4 times 4 times 4, whatever that answer is, and then take the square root of it. By the way, 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. But you still have to square root that, and you end up with 8, which is the exact same answer. Alright. So in this case, I preferred doing it the top way. Alright, next question. 9 to the power of negative 1/2. Okay. Again, write the 9. But before we continue, notice that there's a negative sign here. Alright. So on a video that I've done before, it shows what to do when you have negative exponents. If you have a negative exponent, you're going to want to take that 9 and move it down to the denominator. And the 1/2, instead of being negative 1/2, it will become positive 1/2. So the explanation for that is on my video on, positive and negative exponents, I believe. Okay? Anyway, so we have this situation here. So you leave the 1 on top there, and you deal with the stuff on the bottom just like we were doing before. So we've got 9 inside a radical sign. The 2 slips out in front. The 1 is there. So we still have 1 on top. Basically, what's the square root of 9? And the answer is 3. If you were to type this all on a calculator, you would end up getting 1/3 as an answer, or you would get 0.33333. Teachers usually like to see your answer in a fraction like this just because it shows that you know what you're doing, that you did these steps, and you were able to show the steps and the understanding of how to deal with this instead of just punching it in on a calculator. Okay? Next question. Here we are. Finally, we have a different number on the bottom other than 2, okay? Very exciting. So here we have 8, our radical sign. Okay, this gets easier as we look at it. However, notice the negative. As soon as we have a negative, we have to put it under there. Remember, if we have a negative, it's really just going to take this and turn it into a positive. So it takes the exponent, and instead of being a negative exponent, it's now a positive exponent. So then from there, we go to this step. Take that 3, put it in front. The 2 goes right there. Remember, you can do this 2 different ways. You could go 8 to the power of 2, which is 64, and then take the cube root on your calculator of 64. Or you could do it, take the cube root of 8, and then go to the power of 2. I would prefer to do it that way because the cube root of 8 is 2. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So the cube root of 8 is 2, but we still have to go to the power of 2. So we end up getting 1 over 4 as our answer. Okay? Hopefully that didn't confuse you too much. Let's keep moving along. Alright, this question here is a little bit more tricky because the 2/3, this exponent here, has to go and meet the 64, and then it has to go and meet that 9 there, that exponent of 9. Okay? Some people call this shower power. Shower power because you have a power, and when you turn a shower on, everything gets wet on the inside. So I don't know if that's a good way of remembering or not for you, but it would look like this. If we spread out that 2/3, it would be 64 to the 2/3, and then we'd have n to the 9th. Okay, I'm going to put brackets around it just because it also has to meet the 2/3 as well. So there's that shower power idea. Okay, so dealing with this one, it would become, and you know how to do this already, put the 64 inside the radical sign, the 3 slips out in front, the 2 goes right here, and then over here we have 9, an exponent of 9, and we have an exponent of 2/3. If you remember the video on the exponent laws that I did, when you get an exponent and then another exponent, you don't add these things, you have to multiply them. Okay? So it's like saying 9 times 2/3, which is 9 times 2. So we get 9 times 2, it's 18. And 9 times 2 is 18. And the bottom, well, 9 is really the same thing as saying 9 over 1. And the bottom you multiply, you get 1 times 3, which is just 3. This actually works out pretty nicely over here because if we were, here I'll just put equal signs just to make it nice to look at. 18 divided by 3 is just 6. So that works out kind of nicely there. I didn't have to leave it as a fraction because it just worked out beautifully. Anyway, over here, I would prefer to go, what's the cube root of 64? And then to the power of 2. For those of you that use calculators, which I do, the cube root of 64 on a calculator like this, this is that Windows calculator. I'm looking for the cube root. I think it's right here. So I think you would type 3 and then of 64, and then hopefully, nope, that's not it. 64. There we go. Every calculator is a little different, but what this is saying is 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. And every calculator is a little bit different, and depending on yours, you should get 4 as your answer. You're going to have to fool around with it for a while to make sure you know how to do it with your particular calculator. Okay? But anyway, 4 is what we get, but don't forget we have 4 and then squared. Okay? So we've done the cube root of 64, we got 4, but it's squared, and I want to write the final answer right here because I've ran out of room. So 4 times 4 is 16. So the final answer should be 16n to the 6th, I hope. I know in my other videos I've made mistakes, and boy, it's tough because the comments that you get, it keeps coming back to bite you. So I'm hoping this is the right answer. Let's move on. I'll check it later and I'll put a note if I did it wrong. But anyway, here we go. This one again, remember the shower power idea. The 3 is on the outside of these brackets here. It has to go meet everybody on the inside of the brackets. Okay, the 3 has to go meet the 5, the b squared, and the c to the 1/4. Okay, so let's write that out. There it is. b, now remember, the 3 has to go meet the b squared. We're going to multiply, because it's an exponent and another exponent, we're going to multiply these two. So you get b to the power of 6. Now c to the 1/4, this 1/4 is going to be multiplied by this 3. Well, remember, two fractions, when you multiply, it's nice just to put the 1 underneath the 3. 1/4 times 3 over 1. Well, 1 times 3 is what? It is 3. What's 4 times 1? That is 4. It's not like the other question where we had an answer that just worked out beautifully and it became just a whole number. In this case, it's going to stay 3/4. Okay, we're not going to be able to do anything with this. And you don't even have to take that 4 and put it out in front of the c and all of that stuff, because this is not a number, it's just c. There's nothing more we can do. We don't actually know what c is. So we're just going to leave it like that. Maybe your math teacher would say something else, but anyway. 5 times 5 times 5, or 5 cubed, I believe is 125. Just going by memory there. B to the 6th, well, that's just b to the 6th. There's nothing we can do about that. And c to the power of 3/4. And that's about as far as we can go, folks. This is it. We've simplified this thing. Now, I think I have one more question to go here. I'm wrong. We are staring at a dark screen because this video must be over. Hopefully I didn't mess you up. Hopefully you're okay. Good luck.